do you get caught up in the whole music industry or the history of American music? Is that part of something you're interested? Do you keep up on it, or do you, like I used to just read all the art magazines and when I was young, and wasted so much time.
Yeah, not really. I mean,
good. Yeah.
Obviously I've picked up a lot of history and stories just by being around. And
right. And you met a lot of folks.
Being around for as long as I have too.
Yeah.
But I don't know, my relationship with music I like to kind of keep sort of not so analytical, I guess. Kind of analytical, but mainly sort of more on the naive side. I think that helps creativity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to be like too sort of in your head about it.
But you get caught, like you have where your collection is or whatever. I imagine you must have a collection of music, but and then obviously there's certain people I hear, or I don't know who played a part early on, maybe in inspiring you, because everybody starts off with their inspirations, right?
Oh,
guess it must have.
I mean, yeah, fully. I went through. I feel like almost everybody though. Yeah. Like we were talking about Rush,
right?
And like
Dylan.
Zeppelin and Hendrix and all that, and then
Bowie.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a huge Bob Dylan phase. I mean,
you almost have several in a lifetime if you're old enough, right?
Yeah.
Where you keep going back, and then you kind of like the Beatles or whatever, Stones.
Yeah, Bob Dylan. Like, did you ever get into the Basement tapes?
Sure.
I feel like that's one of his best records.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so free.
I got really into Robbie Robertson for a while.
Yeah.
Like just his voice and his whole vibe.
Yeah.
And so his influence. And then I got really disappointed when everybody was ragging on him because he was taking more. He was being accused of taking far more.
Well, I think he wrote the songs. Is the
possibly.
Deal, So
yeah.
I mean, he wrote the songs. There you go.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can split that with the band if you wrote the songs, but if you don't, I don't think you should be damned. I don't really know the story, but if that is the story, then
I read that book by.
But it is nice if you cut the cats in, maybe a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like there's a lot of stories because at a certain point it seems like egos are always going to be in there, right, in the story, and at a certain point the guy who writes the music is going to push back. He's going to want attention and he's going to want credit on a level and maybe financially.
Not everybody, though.
Not everybody. Just those with the ego problems.
Yeah.
Issues. Paul Simon, of course, had to.
Well, it's hard to call it an ego problem because it's a justifiable thing. Like, if you wrote the songs, you want the publishing for that. Fair enough. Like, that's sort of ground zero. Yeah. Then you being cool and maybe smart is cutting your band in. Like, I think the way Coldplay does it is obviously Chris Martin is probably the main songwriter, but I think he cuts everybody in.
Okay.
I've heard or something.
So less of an ego.
I don't know him in that way, but in terms of just what I've read, or like U2, they split it up or something, I think.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that's better for longevity.
Probably. That's why,
because if one cat is way richer than everyone else,
it's hard to
it's hard to keep on the road, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed what was there one point where you're doing a lot more acoustic, and you were obviously also early on looping and doing right. That was big part of your early
the looping
phase.
Thing. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much
play solo. You still do it?
I started doing that. Yeah, back in 1995, 96,
right.
Just touring with loops. And back then, they didn't even have ones that they have today. So I had to have a rack with two jam mans in them, MIDI together, and a pedal board.
How'd you learn all that stuff, though? Just trial
through Real World, really, through my association with Peter Gabriel and the people there, because that was kind of like a whole institution. For me, it was, because I was there sort of during what would have been my collegiate years.
Right.
And so I feel like being mentored by Peter, and he was throwing people, at me that were amazing, like Brian Eno sang on my first record.
Right.
He did I'm going to say disciple, but his, Is that the right word? Or like Marcus Draves produced my first record, who went on to produce Arcade Fire and stuff. And
wow.
He worked with Brian Eno, or was his understudy, I guess.
Okay.
So I just got to work with these really intensely...
He mentored.
Yeah.
Yeah, he mentored them. Right, got it.
And Paul Ridout, he was the one who came up to me and said, have you ever played against loops of yourself? And no, I mean, at that time, no one was doing this. Like now, everybody does it. But at the time, no one was doing it. There was like a few people would do it.
Well, David Byrne was doing it. Wasn't he? Does that make sense? I remember didn't he do some stuff with when he starts off the concert with just a guitar?
But it's not like in this way of a singer-songwriter doing his whole show by backing himself up by loops he's making.
Right.
No one had done that before.
Yeah,
know.
I'm not taking credit away from you.
You're taking credit away, bro.
No, that's why I brought up looping.
Jaco Pastorius, he did it.
Okay.
He did it on tour with like Joni Mitchell and his bass solo. Like he would do looping and stuff like that.
I have a solo album.
But that's different. That's not a singer-songwriter backing himself.
Okay, I know, but I'm just showing off a little. Sorry. I'm just letting you know I'm down with Paco Pastorius. That I knew about him, Jaco Pastorius, rather, for a long time.
No, but so Paul Ridout gave me the idea. He was like, have you ever played against loops of yourself? And then I spent like a month in the English countryside just like with these machines working on this, and then started playing gigs like that, and then I started touring like that all over the place.
Peter Gabriel, so he would have been still kind of he started after that So album, right, which was a phenomenon, right? Those huge success. And is it true during that album, because it comes back in the Fez show, that after the Fez show, Lou Reed, who was Peter Gabriel's guest at that show, it popped around, by the way, if you're listening,
and brought his DAT recorder to record the show,
digital audio tape recorder, DAT, right? So he recorded that he recorded
Fez show? So Peter could send it back to the people at Real World so they could judge me.
That makes sense. So you obviously pulled it off. Lou Reed was sitting with Peter Gabriel?
Yeah.
He was his guest?
Yeah.
And he was already somebody you probably were like...
worshipped. Like, Lou was a huge hero,
Yeah.
So that was insanely intimidating. And I had been a bass player and stuff before. I wasn't really a singer-songwriter. I was kind of faking
right
it.
from high school?
Yeah, like I was a bass player, and then I was always a bass player in the bands I was in. So I had just started this acoustic guitar player, singer-songwriter thing like a year before. So I was brand new at it.
Yeah.
So I was very intimidated.
And you were wearing a new hat, and you were uncomfortable, and you probably broke strings a lot early on, and in the middle of songs. Did you do that?
Yeah, of course. Still do sometimes.
Well, now you know how to play through that kind of thing. Or if somebody hands you another guitar,
try.
You know what to do.
Yeah.
But early on, that can throw you off course when you're all of a sudden now you're putting yourself up front.
Yeah, I left my body. I was like so intimidated by the whole thing. But I made it through.
You did. After the but is it true? So that night you play. Oh, now you're invited to go out to dinner with Lou, and I know you've told this anecdote, but I think it's just so great. You have to repeat it. For the hundredth time. And then so you're going to the bar next door, the restaurant next door to Time Cafe or whatever it is, and you're sitting at the next. Who's sitting at the next table?
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And
then Peter Gabriel said that was the original person he was going to get to sing.
Yeah.
Don't give up with, which I thought was pretty fascinating. Yeah.
For a minute, there was Parton versus Bush for the same part.
Right.
That's incredible, but I could see
makes sense, actually.
It totally
when
makes
you think
sense.
about it, but
her voice is perfect for that.
It
song.
would be perfect for it.
It would have been. And when he went on tour, and I saw him on tour after that album came out, I saw him at Madison Square Garden with my cousin to see Peter Gabriel, and it was Mrs. Lou Reed who came out to sing that part.
Oh, okay.
It was Laurie Anderson. She sang that part because she's also on that album, but she doesn't sing that song. Obviously, it was Kate Bush.
Right. She's in the Bird song or something.
Forget now. Yeah, and then he did the thing where he let the audience pass him around in the mosh type of approach, but they put him right back on the stage every time. I'm sure
they're so polite.
They're so polite and efficient.
Not a punk
and
rock
efficient.
audience.
No, they would have trampled upon him.
Ripped his clothes off.
They ripped him apart, limb from limb. Absolutely.
Hello, geezer.
That's right. Now you're going to be sorry. What?
You're going to be sorry, mate. You jumped into this audience. Do you know what I mean?
Peter Gabriel.
Hello, mate.
Good,
in your eyes, the light, the heat, mate.
Now, I think we do have another show. Geezers. I'm telling you.
Geezers.
We could both.
Do you know what I mean? Easy. I live in South London,
right.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah. I had a friend. Whenever he get worked
you ever
up,
hear,
my friend John, who's in he's in London. He would, whenever he start getting upset, he would start talking. He would start saying things like, I was just saying to my friend the other day, yeah, and he would start saying yeah every other sentence. It's like, oh, that's a thing.
You know what I mean?
Remember that? That's so authentic.
Do you hear what are they called? Sleaford Mods.
No,
the band.
No,
very cool.
Okay,
gotta check them out.
I will.
Do you remember the Streets?
Nope. I'm just being honest. Thought I knew a lot of
the Streets, like that UK rap, garage rap scene.
Year roughly, or years?
Like in the 90s, I think. They came out and they were huge. And Mike Skinner.
Okay,
I think is his name. And I think he's got a podcast too, actually. Mm-hmm. And then now there's the Sleaford Mods, which is another like UK rap band kind of thing.
And they're really good.
So good.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And because they have heavy, thick, like northern
it's
English.
very minimal production.
And they're
just
up
a
north.
beat and a bass line and the guy singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they play live, it's just the one guy's got a laptop and he just drinks a beer and presses play and then stop.
Yeah.
And the other guy just is at the mic and it rocks.
Whatever works, right?
Yeah.
And they're from northern.
Oh, I don't even know where.
If they've
somewhere
got
in London, I think.
Manchester. Okay.
Yeah, just the London street vibe, street cred.
Do you ever listen to the? This was a phenomenon for about a minute or two, but the Slow Down Jolene.
Mm-mm.
The Dolly Parton. Somebody discovered that they slowed it down, like they put it on 33 if it was a single, whatever they did. And it's like, you can find it on YouTube, and it's awesome.
It says, I love Satan if you slow it down.
No, it doesn't do that. If you play backwards, it does. No, it's just like somebody slowed down Dolly Parton singing Jolene, so it's like, Jolene. But it works like as this other, it's kind of creepy.
Oh, really?
But it's it's like its own version, yeah. And everybody
I never hear that.
No, find it. I'll send it to you. I'm going to send it to you.
Well, what about Robert Johnson?
The King of the Delta Blues, right?
Yeah, and then everyone had that theory that all of it was sped up this whole time.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That the way we've been listening to it the whole time is sped up, and if you slow it down slightly, it's how it actually is, and there's those versions on the internet of that.
Oh, okay, that's great to know.
Yeah, but I mean, people seem to like the sped up, more ghostly versions because that sort of faster vibrato gives it that ghostly quality.
Yeah,
but that's kind of interesting to think about, the fact that potentially a technical error helped shape
all of rock music,
all of
the future of
everything,
right?
Yeah,
because everybody says that was the first guy.
The main thing.
Jammed on it. He influenced all of the
blues,
which influenced rock and roll.
If it would have had the same impact had it not been for that, if that is even true.
Yeah,
but
so you became pretty close to Lou Reed for a while there, right? Is that the? Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, we had a connection. Yeah, I loved him very much.
It's nice. I guess I was realizing I shouldn't actually talk about it because it's going to sound kind of a bit...
Well, it's a weird thing to talk about on a podcast, I guess.
And yet, you're a musician and a songwriter, and he's some guy who really had an impact on you.
Well, it definitely had a huge impact on me in terms of just his influence as an artist.
And you did a cover album, for God's sake.
That's
a tribute
true.
album. And that called Lou, and it's beautiful. And
Thank you.
I love it. And
appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that album. And your version of I like to take on Walk on the Wild Side, which is such an iconic song, in which he talked through all of his songs essentially, right? But you did this beautiful, melodic,
Thanks.
songs. You sang it, but which nobody heard that. And then you did that on the Letterman show.
That's right. That was the night he announced his retirement.
That's amazing.
Which is bizarre.
It is bizarre. You were on that show?
I was on that show.
Did it before you came out?
It
was the tail
end.
The
night before.
Oh.
But Lady Gaga,
get out of here,
I guess, needed that spot, so we got pushed
to
the next day.
Wow.
And it happened to be the day he announced his retirement. And the fact that, I mean, just as like on the level, like take myself out of the equation, just anybody doing Walk on the Wild Side that year and the night that David Letterman announces his retirement, that's such a perfect song for that. Like, because it's so New York and just like...
That's true.
Lou had just recently passed. It's just like...
Yeah, you moved him. It was clear David Letterman was moved.
It was really good It was really good timing,
Yeah.
And Mike Mills and Peter Buck did it with me.
It's amazing.
And Mike, like, I guess, they came back and told us that Letterman was going to announce his retirement, and Mike tweeted it, and his tweet went viral. Which, if you think about it, yeah, of course it would.
Because 7 people were on Twitter at the time. No, it was only about 5 years ago.
Oh, right? No, Twitter was huge then, too.
Yeah. No, it's very recent. I was surprised when I watched it, because I watched it. I had not seen that particular performance, and I watched it just earlier today, actually, and I was surprised by how recent. It already feels like Letterman's gone for so long.
Well, he's already back.
He's already
back. He's been gone so long, he's back.
He's gone, and they've already just... They announced the second season of his show, which is great. He does a long conversation.
Oh, right.
So maybe he'll be on it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm planning on being on season 3.
Speaking of which, Norm Macdonald, the comedian, also has a talk show on Netflix, which is phenomenal.
I know it well. I'm a Norm head on the internet. I'm one of them.
Oh yeah, he's so funny.
I think he's incredible.
That show he does want everybody brings on, like Jane Fonda didn't know what to make of him at first, but she got right into it. I have to say, he has that capacity where he can kind of really shock, but also then cozy up to you in a very warm, kind of just affectionate or normal way. He's very singular like that.
He reminds me of Dylan. Like the way he talks is like Dylan. He's got like if you think about it, it feels like he takes on the Dylan persona. I don't like
he does that. That's right. Yeah, he does that.
He's like I know what you mean. Comedic Bob Dylan. Like it's like well, like a rose, it's the same, it's the same lilt or something.
Yeah. Have you ever had the opportunity to meet Dylan, by the way?
No.
Okay.
Nor Norm Macdonald. I want to meet them both.
Okay.
Hopefully at the same day.
Yeah.
Hopefully on the same podcast.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
See, that's how you start.
I feel like I'd be a bit intimidated, but
I'm sure you would be. That's a pretty.
That'd be heavy.
That's a heavy duty.
Be surrounded by some lilts. Be surrounded by on one side and on the other.
Whatever you do,
I would start talking like that too. Hey guys,
whatever you do, start your podcast with episode 2. Listen to it.
Yeah,
yeah. Because if you ever get Dylan or Norm Macdonald on, you'll relabel that show as your first show. Okay, and that would be episode 1. Even if you do it like 10 years later. That way, in the history books, those are your first guests.
That's cool.
I just thought that up. There are these guys. He's one. What's the comedians? They're 2 comedy people, and they started a podcast. It's called Thought Spiral. I think that's what it's called. I may be fucking it up, but they call each show Test Show 1. They're up to 100 or 80 something.
I love it.
But every episode is like called Test Show.
Perfect.
Because you're supposed to do a bunch of test shows.
Off.
Yeah.
It's just a test.
It's a joke. Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Back that 100%. That's good for creativity.
I agree. That's another one of those things. Just keep saying that.
Yeah, you're just
test show.
Everything's a test.
Your body will follow.
Like this whole bag of my albums, they're all a test.
Bag of CDs. Yeah.
For the album I'm making now.
That makes sense.
Or like the podcast, you've made 500 episodes. Which one of them has been perfect?
This is the most perfect one.
I mean, besides this one.
Yeah. No. The one right before it. Well, I feel for the first time I found my voice.
It's a destroyer.
Yeah, right. No, there's no way. And I fuck something. I'm always going to screw something up. But that's part of the... Yeah, of course. I don't care about that. But it's different. A song is a very different thing than a podcast, a conversation. It's just very different. A song is going to be... It's like a book, or it's like something that's always out there in that version. I don't know. It's it's out there after you're gone. It's meant to be listened to and
but
played.
Nowadays it's like you can just make yourself a video of you playing it with an acoustic guitar,
and
put that out there, and then who knows, that could become the version of it.
Right.
I mean, now it's like everything's opening up so dramatically in terms of...
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no locked-in versions of anything anymore. I don't feel like...
Yeah, that's true. But if you do an album, I guess that's still... We're not that far along where the album isn't still like...
the album seems like a springboard for a whole new world of creativity then.
Yeah.
Like nowadays. Like the album is a springboard for you to go play at radio stations,
sure.
and you to go play live.
Right.
And then
well, that's where you're also making the money, right?
YouTube clips or whatever. Like, so it's like the album feels like almost just an invitation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Catalyst into the next realm.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like Dylan talks about it. All his, like I've heard him said in interviews before, like none of the best versions of my songs exist on the albums that they're on. Yeah. You know, he's like, you know, those are just like, that's just me, you know, that's just the blueprint of the song at that point. Because the song then goes on to change when you play it live and it evolves.
And it wasn't until I read Chronicles Volume 2. See, he even did that. He started with Volume 2. Did he
start with Volume 2?
Well, that's what he called that book that he wrote.
Oh, is that
Chronicles
right?
Volume 2. Yeah.
That's genius.
So,
I shouldn't be surprised.
I read it, and did you read it?
Oh yeah,
because that was the book where he explained where somewhere along the line he discovered a new way of playing or singing, like just singing, and it explains. He said and it explained why when you go see him do one of his songs, he approaches. It's not so arbitrary. He actually has a whole approach to the song, even though it sounds nothing like he did on the original album that you heard it on, and you know what so many of his fans are longing for. But maybe the deeper fans are those who really allow him to go out there and do whatever the fuck he is going to do, because that's what an artist should be able to do.
He has had such a wild... I was getting ready to say about the Basement Tapes was, if you're ever in a creative block, that's like one of the best medicines, is that whole Basement Tape story album, everything about it, because the way those songs came together, like you can just tell with the playfulness of the lyrics, they're just like making things up. It just has that, when creativity is just free, fast, and easy, like it's all about that, but yet it still like resonates because they were, I guess, all in their prime in some level, but. I don't know. I find that whole, like, you know, that's like a good one to go to if you're in a block situation, you know. But like Dylan, too, his career went so wild with like when they went out and played Electric and he kept getting booed.
Judas.
And then like didn't tour for 5 or 6 years after that. So it's like kind of like that hit him hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, like you just...
Or heroin. I don't know.
Did he get... I don't know if he...
I don't know. There's all sorts of... mythology around it. So you don't know what's real or not, or what's created by, producers, promoters, and journalists.
Yeah, who knows?
Dave Marsh and those guys, right? And those guys at Rolling Stone, and that's another crazy book. Did you read the one on Jan Warner? Warner.
No.
That's a crazy book. He did not want that to come out. He first agreed to it, and he actually hired this guy to write the book, or he, brought him on. He brought him on. Lipstick Traces. Terrible title. No, that's not it. It can't be that, because that was a book. The Dylan guy writes all about. Grail Marcus wrote a book called Lipstick Traces.
Lipstick Traces.
No, that's Lipstick Traces. It's a Rolling Stone title. It's a Rolling Stone title.
Huh. I never read it.
Some Girls. No, it's not called that. But He got so he first Jan
Beast of Burden.
It should have been called that, because he definitely was carrying around a burden for a long time until he came out. But he wanted a memoir, so he hired this journalist,
right?
And then the guy just ended up getting all this stuff on him, all real. I mean, it's not like he was trying to write a tabloidish book.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he tried to suppress it. He didn't want him to do it, but it's an interesting read.
No comment, because I still want to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Good for you.
I'm just kidding.
Given the last round now, given this last round, I think I'm a little bit.
Who's in?
Well, Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Who else?
Radiohead.
Radiohead. That's right.
Did Def Leppard make it?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So it's like,
and
I guess
who else?
The last few years have been all of those British bands, a lot of the prog rock. Yes, The Cure. That's
oh,
another
that's
one.
good
so
too.
You don't know, and you're naming them.
I sort of knew. I read who got nominated. I just didn't know how many of them got in. Did Todd Rundgren get in?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I shouldn't say, but I don't remember his name on the list.
Right.
But it's funny.
Well, he was nominated though.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. Yeah. How's your time, by the way? So we just make sure that you're okay, because I know you're going to Brooklyn.
I got a little bit more.
Okay, good.
A few more minutes.
Okay, good. Because we're actually closing in an hour and a half.
Are we really?
Is fantastic. Yeah, I'm loving every minute of it, though.
I thought this was like an hour. I thought we hadn't really started yet.
This is just the intro part where
I thought we were still warming up.
We are. But we covered a lot of like the stuff I jotted down. I did make some notes, which I don't always do that, but there were so many things I wanted to bring up. Like you did do the Marc Maron podcast, which was a great episode actually. And how did he discover you? Do you remember? Because that was like hard for me.
I think someone sent him an album I made called Days of Surrender, like on vinyl. Oh no, actually I remember. Actually, it was Lou. It was my Lou came out for Vanguard Records. Is that right? Am I getting that right?
Maybe. I don't know. It was what year did that all transpire? You were on Letterman in 2015 or 14?
Don't make me remember dates. Edit.
Right. Sorry,
but he tweeted about the Lou Reed tribute album, saying that he really liked it or something like that, and then I think somebody sent him Days of Surrender on vinyl, and then he invited me on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Okay. Because it was like such an unusual, like I said earlier, it was like such an unusual choice, and there's only like a handful of guys that I consider like my go-to guys. Like whenever they have a new, I'm interested, I keep up on it, and you're like one of those. You're the guy, you know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, totally. And I have a kind of not territorial, what is it?
Ownership vibe.
Kind of like Marc Maron's got too big. It was good for you though, and I can't blame Lurie either, John Lurie, because we did this crazy Skype session. He wanted to check out who I was. He was tweeting for a while, pretty regularly. Stuff. Some of it was pretty straightforward. And
I don't know. I'm actually just like saying what I heard, so I shouldn't.
No, that's all right. So I mean, some of it was, gossip. But some of it was. So anyway, I just tweeted to him. I said, "You should do my podcast," and then he actually tweeted directly back, like direct message.
I don't know him, by the way. I just know somebody that knows him.
Right.
Yeah, or works with him.
No, so we tweeted like dozens of, like, you know, and I'm like, and he goes, well, I'm not really doing the film stuff anymore, and you're a film podcast. I said, yeah, but it's my show. I can talk about whatever I want to. We don't have to talk about things. Mm-hmm. Well, ultimately, he said, let's get on Skype, because I'm not in the States at the moment. At least that's what he was saying. I don't know where he was. So anyway, we got on Skype.
So did he do the podcast?
No, just to get to the end of it, no. I recorded the Skype because he wanted to test to see how the quality, if I recorded it, how it came out. And he goes, okay, I'll tell you. He said, I have a lot of like bad feelings about Jarmusch and about Tom Waits and all these, we fell out with these guys, and I'm not going to talk about it on your podcast. I said, that's fine. So I don't care. And anyway, but he did tell me the whole story on Skype. And I recorded it, so I have it, but I can't ever play it. Well, I mean, I can't put it out there. But it was
now you're saying it on my episode. You're dropping these bombshells on my episode.
Oh, well, I think it's public knowledge. Man.
You're gonna create a beef between me and John Lurie. No beef, man.
No beef. No, I respect his desire not to be public about the reasons why, but I think it's pretty common knowledge that he doesn't have a relationship with those guys anymore, and he was hurt by certain things that went down. And when he told me about it, I could understand it. I don't have the full story. I mean, I don't know Tom Waits' take on it or Jim Jarmusch's take, so I don't know that I would put it, if he gave me permission to put that out there, I would still sort of do so, saying, this is his version of what happened. But, you could, it was pretty understandable the way he told me about it, why he would have been hurt. Anyhow. And then the point is that all of a sudden I go look at my, phone, and there it is. He's on Marc Maron's show after not wanting to do my show. Maron has an enormous audience of many, many more people, but obviously years of touring as a comedian or whatever, he's got a huge following. Now he's, of course, has a TV show and he's been in movies. But so I emailed Lori that then I couldn't even listen to it. I was like, and I said, oh, how could you? What the fuck?
Oh, you did? You confronted him?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I was kind of being humorous. I wrote, what the fuck? Like, it was a joke, because that's the name of the show, right? So he writes me back.
Yeah, but you got to also know who your audience is.
That's right. That's correct.
And I think you do.
So you were ahead of
I'm seeing right through you, sir.
Yes, you are. You see this. The email back wasn't quite so, didn't quite keep up the joke line going there. He said, this is why I haven't done your show.
Wow.
I'm like, okay.
You're kind of telling on yourself, though, a little bit.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. I don't, it's okay. I've been emailing I emailed for a year straight with Sarah Driver. Do you know Sarah?
By the way, are you going to keep this part in the podcast, or are you going to edit all this out?
No, I'll keep it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that he'll ever hear it. And even if I would love to have John Lurie on, and I have nothing but a tremendous amount of respect for his music and his artwork as well. I really think he's an incredible...
I think he's a great artist.
And he was a great...
I don't know him. That's my opinion about him. I think he's...
And so... we could just talk about the music and,
no beef, John.
No beef.
I don't even know why we're talking about you so much.
He's probably a few blocks from here.
But I'm following the Ho'oponopono law, and so it's
right.
in my field of consciousness, so I guess I'm responsible ultimately. I'll take it.
I will too.
I'll take full responsibility.
I will too.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It feels good, right?
It does. I'm feeling.
Just do that. We should just drone on that for 10 minutes. Ready?
For real?
No.
I'd rather use that time with us, like maybe at one song for the podcast. And yeah, I would love it. Can you do that? Do like one acoustic song or something? Or are you not feeling well?
Yeah, maybe. What do you think?
Well, it'd just be even personally just a kick to hear one tune. And I got through everything. I just wanted to let people know that.
The whole buzz.
Oh yeah, no, I know. But that Arthur Buck is the newest album, I should say. It's. I know it's on vinyl. Was it? Did you even release the CD version of it, or is it just like online and on vinyl?
No, it's on vinyl and
traditional. Yeah,
and traditional.
Traditional. Why did I say that? Vinyl is traditional.
Yeah, exactly. But
nice. What are you gonna do? Do I need to also scroll for you, or
I don't know.
Now you look like a little bit tired. Like
that's always nice to hear. Thank you.
I know.
Jeez, you are passive aggressive.
After 90 minutes, it's all.
After I killed the podcast, I just did a song, and then you look a little tired. You fighting something? Wow.
It's a perfect.
You okay? Are you sure, man?
It's a perfect song for. I'm cutting you off. No, it's a perfect song because it's in that low register again, so it works if you're a little bit.
Oh my God!
You sound fantastic. I'm saying.
Oh my God!
It's like Ricky Gervais.
Wow,
it was like Ricky Gervais for a second. Here, take this.
Wild.
No.
Wow!
Oh, come on! Look, a bag of stuff here. I'm saying you have
a bag of when I was great. You might as well say a bag of when you were great, when you used to sing louder, and you didn't look tired.
Run down. They say that.
Run down. Oh, there you go. Nice one.
No,
Ooh, get it in a jab.
But it's not a jab.
Oh my God!
It's not a jab. I can only say this with it was because you brought it up before that you were not feeling great, or some cold. You were just coming off of the cold. That's all. You said that. I didn't bring it up.
It's not that it wasn't said. It's when it's getting brought back up. It's the timing of everything. Therein lies the passive aggressiveness.
Let's talk. The song. You just said. So, all right. Well, this now I can't ask to do another one. That would sound tacky as hell.
Okay, we're not using the song now.
Why not? Oh,
because now you've made me feel so insecure about it.
Oh my God! Had no idea after all these years that you were so sensitive and so fragile about it. My goodness.
I think we all are.
Yeah, you're right.
Come on. No, we're talking about human beings.
Yeah, right.
And in fact, look how fractured people can get when they get older.
And I'll share.
I'm hanging in pretty tough.
I will share one other. You are. And I'll share one more thing. I did say I made a mistake. I was really friendly with this one. He's an actor. He just did the podcast actually again. But he was in. You remember Hal Hartley? You know Hal Hartley? He did like The Unbelievable Truth and Trust and Simple Men. Adrienne Shelley was the actress, and she got killed.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so this guy Bill Sage, he's been in. I saw a film he was in. And he said, "What did you think?" And I criticized it. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe because we were friendly. I felt like we were friendly. And I could also say, it was a horror film, and I just felt like, I realized it's not as comfortable talking about horror films in that way, you know? And he got so hurt.
I mean, dude, come on.
What was I thinking?
You're acting shocked that artists are sensitive about what they do. It's like, that sounds disingenuous.
Yeah, but I totally think you're. No, I thought that was beautiful. I
thank you, sir. That's what I was looking for. No, but I want to do it again and get all the lyrics right.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Here, hold this for a second.
All right. See,
I mean, the reason why I'm kind of like on this song is because I'm working on it. And
right. No, and that you're playing it for my podcast for like as an introduction to the song is. You know, take it for somebody who's been following your music for 20 years and take it like that. You know, like how much that must mean to me.
Yeah, no.
It means a lot.
Well, I appreciate it. Let me just get these words. All right, let's see this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember you doing, when you appeared on some radio show with Peter Buck, and I loved how he was playing the guitar and you were singing, and then you just held up your iPad for the keyboard effect, and you just played those 3 notes.
Yeah,
it was really fun to watch.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it sounded good. Something simple, but it added a texture to the song.
Dreamcatcher, sail away with me another time. There's so much more, and I bet you we were best friends in another life, sometime before. If you could be, and I could be, and we could be, let's try and see it through and be true. Promise me you'll notice me, and wait and see how I always notice you when I'm true. Downtown on the boulevard, dancing cheek to cheek with your God. On the street they said you was hard, but when we met you were soft as lead, saying pretty things to my head like I love you more than anyone I've ever known. And I still do, but where are you? Looking for someone to call your own and follow through. If you could be, and I could be, and we could be, let's try and see it through and be true. Promise me you'll notice me, wait and see how I always notice you when I'm true. How's that?
It's called beautiful. Perfect. Dreamcatcher?
Dreamcatcher.
Love it. How many songs have you got, are you working on?
I don't know, probably about 30 or something like that.
Oh my God.
You know?
It's insane.
Yeah, but they go through different phases. Like I'll go piano oriented. I'll start writing off of beats a lot. Like I'll think I'm going to make something beat heavy. And then lately I've been more into this real acoustic, finger picking sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to get as much energy as I can out of that, you know?
Yeah. No, it makes sense. You have to try from different... I mean, otherwise you get into a rut and blocked and all that.
But I mean, I just wrote that song like yesterday, so I don't know if it's any good or not yet. That's why like it's kind of like...
Let me be the first to say.
Throwing it out there.
Love it.
Fishing for a compliment, mate.
Love it.
Fishing for a compliment, mate.
I know.
I just got the name of my podcast, Fishing for Compliments.
Good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What do you think? Fishing
better
for
than Fishing with John.
Oh my God! Now that's gone full circle. But
remember that song? I said we could just talk about fishing.
It's been a few full circles.
Put it down. Write it down before you forget. Well, I can remind
you. Fishing for compliments. Yeah. I'm not going to forget that.
Okay. But I will help produce it. I'll do whatever. I'm happy to help with your podcast. You know, and
well, certainly, I think we can agree that you owe me one.
Yes, that's right. Okay. I guess you don't have an extra ticket to the boxing match.
I wish I did.
I'm only kidding. I got to get my son where he's going back. His mom's flying in tomorrow or Monday, just in time for Christmas. So he's going to go, and so we have like just this is the last couple of days.
Oh, cool.
So I want to be with him. And then you met him briefly.
Very cool kid.
Yeah. He's short and he took off he had a big bushy head of hair when you saw him the other day.
He took it off?
Well, he needed to get a haircut.
Fight Club style?
It went not quite.
Full on Fight Club?
This was a fantastic, really. It was a huge treat for me. So thanks, man. Thanks for doing it, and thanks for playing me that song. Do you want to do...
So you'll just edit in that song to where it went?
Yeah, okay. I'll do that, sure. Okay. And I'll take out the first go, even though there's a lot of funny. It's very funny, and I love being confronted. I like it.
Yeah.
Put me in my place. I'll try to come on the first to that gig. I'd love to see you there.
Come to that gig. I swear I'll sing in like a more upbeat register for you, bro. And I won't be fighting a head cold.
Well, you may be. When you postponed the other day, I just thought, I hope. But how does he know by Saturday he's going to be feeling better? Because
you just never know. But that's what being in show business is all about. Show must go on.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate it. I would totally come on January. Do you have a
January 1st?
Is it all sold out?
No, you can still buy tickets. But now you're trying to get on the guest list. I see through this.
I didn't even bring my kid.
Holy shit!
All right, come alone.
That's how I make money. How do you think I'm living in here? No,
I understand.
Yeah,
that.
I could probably do that.
Let me know if you can't. I think not I can. Insulted. It's right up against it, so it's.
No, I got you. I got you.
Are you sure?
Yeah, these times.
I'd have to bring a very, very cute girl with me, though. I'd have to show up with a babe on my arm.
Okay.
No, I can come alone. I'll come alone. That's a fun place to see you play. So you'll be at the City Winery on the first. I should get this up before that, I guess.
Yeah, you should, man. Help me promo.
Yeah.
It's the name of this game.
That's right. My last show before the New Year, I was going to do something. I had a plan, but maybe I need to rejigger it because you do have this gig.
What's the fan base like for this podcast? I didn't really look into it yet because I was sick.
Mom, Dad.
I mean, is it like a big podcast, or is it small, or is it medium size?
Medium. I mean, it's like people come in and out, of listening, depending on who's on. Mm-hmm. And then, but what I have is a lot of people who are paying attention in general to what I'm doing. So, like, if I post something, there's a lot of people who are seeing that. So if I were to, let's say, post our show and then write on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff,
well, cool.
they would have thousands of people seeing that.
That's great. I have 3 dates coming up at the end of the year, so 2 dates before the January 1st show.
Tell me.
So I can give you those.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good.
Or should I give them to you now?
Sure.
Are you going to...
All right, let's say goodbye then.